Hey guys, welcome back to the Cult Classic Kid Show, and today we're talking about 4 irredeemable scenes in the Halloween franchise. So, to me, this is the absolute worst of the worst, and while I do love the Halloween franchise, it's one of my all-time favorite franchises, and I actually do like a lot of the sequels, but there's definitely some scenes throughout, the 40 plus years that are so fucking horrible that it it has been burned into my brain. And what's interesting to me is that there these scenes are like across every sort of like generation, I guess, or decade, I guess you can say, of Halloween's existence. So it's not like, oh, there was just this bad era of Halloween or bad scenes from a certain era of Halloween. No, it's been through all of these eras of Halloween. And that is basically, these are my absolute worst. And I noticed it's not from any particular era. It's from all of them. There's something bad in all of them that is completely irredeemable to me. So how we're gonna go about this list is I don't really do like worst to even more worse. It's gonna be essentially most obvious to perhaps least obvious sort of deal. And the first on the list has to be Halloween Resurrection. To me, that is the most obvious fail of the Halloween franchise. And that scene is Busta Rhymes, man. I hate this film more than anything else, probably. Oh my god, I haven't watched it in its entirety in years. I watched a little bit of this scene where Busta Rhymes essentially, fucking Bruce Lee kung fu kicks Michael Myers and basically makes a complete fucking joke out of him. He literally says "trick or treat, motherfucker," and picks up like a broomstick handle and starts twirling it like he's a professional martial artist. And it is just the goofiest fucking shit to have to sit through, man. It is painful. It is so egregiously painful to have to sit through that. And that's when it's like, man, this movie's a fucking joke. And to be fair, if I was to watch the film in its entirety again, I'm pretty sure I could probably find like 5 more scenes from this movie that are irredeemable piles of shit. But that is the one from that film that is burned into my brain to this very day that I can never ever forget. And that is the most obvious to me and one of the worst things I ever had to sit through. So that is the first from the Halloween franchise. The second scene that is absolutely irredeemable to me from the Halloween franchise is Rob Zombie's Halloween, and that is, I think, one of the earliest scenes in the film, if not like the first scene in the film, where Michael Myers' stepfather essentially acts like a complete fucking dick face, a white trash loser, and starts like this huge fight in the house. And this is this is the worst thing you could do as a director, is immediately turn off your viewer with the first scene of the film. Like, seeing that film for the first time and sitting through that, I was immediately like, "Oh my god, this is going to fucking suck balls." Like, and I sat through the whole movie and just hated it. And that scene is one of the most distasteful scenes. And one of my friends constantly makes fun of me because he knows I hate that scene so much, where he basically Michael Myers' stepdad makes fun of him, kind of just call makes him out to be like a little girl. And he's just like, we might as well cut his dick and balls off and call him Michelle. And he just starts singing Michelle my belle, like from what is that, a Beatles song. It's so fucking bad. It's like, if I don't laugh, I will cry at how horrible that scene is. And that is the second most obvious irredeemable scene throughout the Halloween franchise. Now the third. And this goes way back, and it's with Halloween 2. And the irredeemable scene from that film that is burned into my brain is when Lori's in the parking lot. And essentially, she's been hiding in a car for who knows how long. I think she fell asleep or some shit since she was like drugged up. And she wakes up and sees Loomis and Nurse Chambers walking towards the hospital. So she crawls out of the car, lands on the pavement of the parking lot, and watches them walk in as she makes the most horrifying face that literally looks like Jamie Lee Curtis's face is melting off her skull. That's literally the face that she's making. And then she literally waits until Loomis and Nurse Chambers walk into the hospital building and the door closes. Then she decides to scream for help. And it kills me every time having to watch that scene, because overall, I think Halloween 2 is actually a pretty well done sequel. It's not perfect by any means, but this is the scene that sticks out to me the most as an irredeemable scene. It's a scene that Jamie Lee Curtis herself absolutely hated having to film.
So there are these moments where I have to, as an actor, basically do things that inherently I disagree with. But she wouldn't do that. She has to do that. They're just things you have to do. So in Halloween 2, you have the experience where I'm hiding in the car and all the police and everybody shows up. And I fall out of the car onto the thing, and then I do this great scene where I claw my way along the asphalt, my nails. I remember that was awesome, you know, but I can't get my voice out. It's like, are you kidding me? That people are 10 feet away and you want me to go, like I can't scream all of a sudden? Ugh. See, there's a moment where you go, really? But I'm going to find my voice the minute the door's shut. So it's like, help, 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 door shut, help. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So, you know.
You've spoken out about how terrible she thought it was, but as an actress, you know, you're forced to sometimes do scenes and do things that you don't necessarily agree with for the character, but since it is, you know, the director's film and scripted, that you have to sometimes do things you just don't agree with. And I totally get that. I don't really blame Jamie Lee Curtis for that scene. It's more so the direction of the scene. Now, I think that this scene would have been at least semi-acceptable if the scene itself expressed the fact that Laurie herself was still drugged up really badly or something like that, but they don't really express that very well at all. And because they don't, it really leads to, honestly, an abomination of a scene in a film that I actually like. So it's very disappointing. I always look forward to watching Halloween 2, except for when I do get to that scene. And that is the third absolutely irredeemable pile of shit scene from the Halloween franchise. Now the last scene that I think is absolutely irredeemable, a complete total pile of shit that is probably the least obvious on this list, would be from Halloween Kills. Now the scene I'm referring to is essentially when Laurie figures out that Michael Myers is still alive after having went through all the shit that she and her daughter and granddaughter had gone through in Halloween 2018. When she finally does realize Michael is still alive, she gets out of her bed in the hospital, literally acts like a raving lunatic. What I hate about this scene is that it naturally makes the viewer essentially say the main protagonist of this franchise is fucking nuts. Like, she's completely lost it. You can't take Laurie seriously after watching this scene, and that is not good. Even though she doesn't have much of a role in the film, she is the main character that everyone does still stand behind, because she is a long-standing character in the franchise. The last thing you want to do is make a character like this seem like you can't really trust her judgment. She literally gets out of bed, grabs a fucking bottle of morphine, fucking fills a syringe with it and stabs herself in the leg and shoots herself up with morphine as she's acting like a raving old bitch lunatic about having to stop Michael Myers. To me, I've come out and said, like, from the very jump, that this is as bad of a scene to me as the scene in Halloween 2 in the parking lot scene with Jamie Lee Curtis. And I don't think either of these scenes are Jamie Lee Curtis's fault. It's more so the direction of the film. I wholeheartedly blame David Gordon Green for how terribly that scene in Halloween Kills comes off. And to me, it is just as bad, if not worse, than the parking lot scene in Halloween 2. I don't understand why they think that you sacrifice I don't understand why they're willing to sacrifice everything in order to make your female protagonist look strong, even at the expense of making us have to undermine her mental capacity. That is not good filmmaking. It's something that's becoming a normalized trend. And I say this, please fucking stop doing it. We're going to undermine these characters if you're willing to throw all sanity out of the window just to make them look like they're super powerful and they're strong-willed. There's going to be, you have to, when it comes to female protagonists and even any protagonist, you have to give them a level of humility. Make us sympathize with them. This is important. That's what gives me a connection to a lot of these characters, when I can sympathize with their situation and realize that they're not perfect, that I want to root for them for the sake of the possibility that they may fail. That's what makes me want to root for them. The fact that, damn, this is not, like, this is problematic. Like, I want them to win. And I want to be able to relate to them and see them as, like, someone like me just trying to get out of this situation. I don't want to undermine the character. So the fact that Halloween Kills, it had that scene completely making Laurie Strode look like an old dumb bitch that has Alzheimer's, not cool. And to me, I think this is probably the one that I think people would least expect to be mentioned. That's why it's the last one on the list. But guys, let me know what scenes you think are the most irredeemable in the Halloween franchise. Maybe I'll make another video with another 4. Who knows? But if you can, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Don't get mad at me. I really do love Halloween. I mean, like, come on, guys. Come on. Don't get mad at me. We can have these conversations like sane human beings, after all. But it's good to have these conversations. It's good to establish what's good filmmaking and what just isn't, and to see where people stand in terms of what they think falls under these lines, because, I mean, everyone has their own opinions about it after all, right? But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. And thank y'all so much for talking with me. And with all that being said, I'm out. Peace.